They thought their marching days were over. But this summer, age is just a number.
What's up, guys? Spenny. This weekend, dozens of miserable, out-of-work, left-wing protesters desperately in need of a toothbrush and a shower gathered to scream, "No kings!" in the street. Nobody's quite sure what they mean by that, because they're the exact same people that wanted you to be put in a camp because you wouldn't follow protocol when there was a cold that was released from China. You didn't wear your mask properly. Remember that? Remember, they wanted to take all of us off social media. They wanted to literally ban every single person, silence our ability to speak online. But no kings! Remember that? Remember how they wanted to open up all of our borders in violation of federal law so that third world criminal aliens can come here and rig elections for all time for them? A new serf class, right? Like a slave labor class in this country so that they can maintain political power forever in their leftist communist utopia. Yeah. No kings! Remember that? I can't stand these people. But there is a clip that just perfectly distills down exactly what they were about, and it's this amazing clip from Seattle at the No Kings protest. This guy, gotta respect him for just being
Trump's
honest.
a bitch.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. We don't like him. That's the word around here.
Any particular reason why you don't like him?
No clue at all. I'm just going with everybody else saying.
I got no clue at all. Just going with what everyone else said. Just doing what I'm paid to say. Joe Rogan perfectly sums up the No Kings protest and other left-wing protests. Joe Rogan saying the No Kings rallies protesters are losers funded by Dems and maybe some FBI agents thrown in there. Joe Rogan says that all of the No Kings protesters are FBI agents. 99% of them are losers or work for the feds. Find the lie.
Political thing. Yeah, all those people that are protesting on the streets, 99% of them are losers. The other ones work for the Fed.
I have a whole joke about that. It's like, if
It's
I was
FBI agents and losers. That's all it is. The whole every protest,
Dude,
is FBI agents and losers.
I talk about this all the time. I'm like, for me, you want me to join a protest? You want me to get out on the street? First of all, to make a sign? The f*** out here. And then
you don't have to make the sign. There's a guy with a van who's paid by George Soros,
Yes.
and he's got stacks of signs that were made at Kinko's. Okay, they're not homemade at all, and you could just pass those bad boys out.
I'm never leading your revolution. My problem is my sign would say, "Ugh," or "It's complicated."
Yeah.
Joe Rogan, killing it. You can tell by the signs. You can tell in the whole protest. We did a full breakdown on the show this morning why this protest is fake, but also why it's real in the sense that you're actually seeing the modern state of the left, which is old, washed up, sad, degenerate, violent, evil, grotesque, mean-spirited, and just all around awful. Joe Rogan's right, of course. They are losers. Here's what I saw. Here's the literal proof of what we have been talking about on this program for a very long time. This is why I love you. This is why I love the chat. This is why the chat's on screen. You'll never find a show that is a bigger fan of audience engagement, going back and forth, rolling through, and making sure that we are taking a community approach here to like how we cover news. You know, I saw one of you commented, maybe it was you. One of you commented that like the No Kings protest looks like the nursing home. We're let out. And that is absolutely true. In fact, our team scoured the internet and found this video. This is a real video. It's not a skit that we put on. We didn't pay these people in, applesauce or lotto tickets or anything. This is a real video authentically filmed at a senior living center where the residents of that senior living center are being wheeled out. Most of them are being wheeled out because they can't move under their own power. And they're going to their No Kings protest. The person commenting right now on this feed, your chats are up on screen right now. You, the person commenting, you were right. Thank you. This is why we love you. You were right. We found the proof that that's actually what these protests are. Why would this work? Why does this make a ton of financial sense? Well, one, these old boomers, they're constantly banging on. These old left-wing boomers, by the way, I'm not trying to be ageist. The right-wing boomers are the best. But these old lib boomers who have miserable lives, they voted themselves into becoming millionaires with their little houses that they bought for 7 raspberries in the 1960s. And now they live in these old assisted living centers because their children don't want to take care of them, because their children don't like them, because they're so annoying, or they don't have any children. And so they just like forced to die with their cats, sleeping on their faces when they pass. That happens a lot. Super creepy. Anyway, they've lived miserable lives. And the only flame that they have to warm themselves with in their old age is not beautiful grandchildren or great-grandchildren. It's not the things that actually bring you eternal happiness and purpose. It's memories of the 1960s and 70s. Klein, if you wouldn't mind, roll that one more time. And their glory days. Going to Haight-Ashbury, destroying San Francisco, destroying the incredible culture that was like given to them, flooding it with third world criminal aliens, devaluing the dollar, voting themselves lavish riches out of the treasury through Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, and so on. And ladies and gentlemen, now they are being trotted out because the nursing homes need free things to do for activity hour for these old boomers that just continue to bang on about their glory days. Remember when it's San Francisco and the Vietnam War protests? That was great. Okay, Grandpa, here we go. Roll out. We got another one for you. Roll out. You can be the change. You can definitely do this. Go to the No Kings protest. Got it? These are the same people. These are the No Kings people. These exact same people in this video are the ones who wanted to shut down all of our young lives for cold. They wanted you to lose your job. They wanted your children not be able to go to school. They wanted you to double mask. They wanted you to stand in little circles. They all voted for Joe Biden. They wanted to shut down our social media. They wanted to shut down our ability to speak. They wanted to open up our borders by fiat, not totally against American law. They believe in sanctuary cities. They want to take all your guns. They want to take your freedom of speech. They want to take your freedom of movement, freedom of commerce. And they're the ones saying no kings. They're the ones voting for Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, who have been in Congress, in their seats, for a total of 80 years between the two of them. These are the people who love Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer, who between the three of them have served over 120 years in their seats. They're the ones saying, no kings! No kings! No, they're the ones. They're the ones saying it. These people don't make no sense exactly. Because it sounds like what they want is actually to live exactly like a king, just a left-wing tyrant king, which is what they voted for in Joe Biden. Literally the mad king, King George. Go study King George. He had whatever Biden has. The guy didn't make sense for the last 20 years of his reign. But these people are absolutely in favor of monarchy. They just want degenerate, hedonistic, pagan left-wing monarchies. And that's why the No Kings protests are so old. Because all these boomers who have no kids or grandkids, they have to find things for them to do, free things for them to do during activity hour in the nursing home. And if they go to the protest, they get extra cinnamon in their applesauce after activity hour. And the boomers, they'll sleep for 2 days after that. They're tuckered out. They're like, so tired. And they'll go to sleep. It's the best thing for the Haitians that run the nursing homes. This is the greatest thing that ever happened. They love it. They love it. Anyway, that's my rant. Rant over. You can see that. You can see them everywhere. It was illegal for anybody under the age of 50 to go to the No Kings rallies this weekend. And why is that? Part of it is sort of tongue in cheek. I'm making a joke about nursing homes and senior citizen centers and stuff like that. It's nothing worse than old, sad, dusty left-wing communists from the 70s trying to relive their glory days. Oh yeah, these are the moves that got me syphilis back in San Francisco, 1969. That's right. I'm no fortunate son. Call me Antifa. Look at Grand Tifa. Grand Tifa is what we'll call him. It's Grand Tifa. What? Why? Why are there no young people? Why are there no young people? I mean, look at this guy who dressed up as Charlie Kirk's assassin. Dude literally dressed up as the guy who killed Charlie Kirk. These are the people, not this guy. The guy dressed up as Charlie Kirk. There you go. I mean, that guy is calling for the death of Trump. This guy's dressed up as look at this guy. They're venerating the murderer of Charlie Kirk. What's going on here? They're like so excited that Charlie's dead. And they say it again and again and again. This crazy ass old lady saying that I'm really excited that Charlie's dead. Like the perfect archetype. She's probably 75. She's like the perfect archetype. This is a full video. Okay. Is it just the end? All right, here we go. Yeah, let's go.
We need to get ourselves together, and we might even need to be a little bit meaner, because the Republicans don't mind being mean.
And by mean, what do you mean? Do you mean protesting? Do you mean...
Maybe we have to, I don't know, stop being so nice.
You seem like a pretty nice lady.
I'm a pretty nice lady, but I can be pretty mean, too.
Okay, and I have to ask this because people on the other side are going to say that they feel like the Democrat Party has been mean. Recently, with Charlie Kirk being assassinated,
He's a piece of garbage. Of course we were mean. I am so tired of people saying, oh, but, it's a terrible thing. No, Hitler is dead. I'm glad Hitler's dead. Evil people have no place in my world. He was a hateful human being. It was disgusting, the things that he said and did. I don't have time for that. I'm sorry. I have to point my energy in other directions.
Charlie Kirk has no place in my world. He deserved it, is what she said. Said he deserved it, is what she says. Oh, well, you just found one violent old person. She's probably off her SSRIs, right? Or meds. You can't find more than one, can you? Can you? Let's see. Here's a guy, same age, 75, walking around with an 8647 shirt on. Maybe he doesn't know what it means.
8647, explain it to me. I like the colors.
Kill the son of a bitch.
Kill who?
This 47th president.
Really? What's your name?
Dick Safer.
Glad we got that on camera.
Oh, okay. Just kill Trump, is what he says. Kill the 47th president, is what he says. What the hell is going on here exactly? Well, the left has lost the capacity to rule. They've lost institutional power, regulatory power, cultural power. This degenerate, please put this guy back up. They lost the power because of guys like Charlie Kirk, the guy who dressed as Charlie Kirk's assassin here. I don't know his identity. I'd really like to figure this out. They have lost everything, and they've lost the argument. And so now they're going to resort to violence. And they've embraced it wholly. The entire party has embraced it. Now, why are no young people wanting to be leftists anymore? Well, because, again, young people like good energy, positive energy, energy that like points to the future. They've always liked that. They've always wanted that. They want to rebel against broken systems. And the broken system is our federal government. The broken system is obviously the Marxism, neo-Marxism that has been shoved down everyone's throats by people like this for the better part of the last 70 years, where they have had wholesale control of every law firm, entertainment agency, federal agency, regulatory agency, complete and total capture of power. No, we want power returned to the people. That's what liberty and freedom actually is, and that's the coolest rebellion ever. And that's why young people are attracted to the right, and that's why young people are America first. These people have been selling boomer communism for the better part of the last 50 years, 70 years. It's 2025, almost 2026. It's been the same story since the 60s. You killed JFK, and that started a whole new American revolution by the communists. And it's old, and it's tired, and it's broken, and young people reject it. And that's why you don't see any young people at these protests. I make jokes about nursing homes. I still think that's true. I have the videos to prove it, but really that's at the core of this, is that they're not attracting young people. When they attract young people, these are the types of young people that they're attracting. This woman is going viral right now for asking for a birthday wish. These are the types of people. Now, when some of the biggest lie, perhaps the biggest lie ever told, like Sunday school lie, is that like the outside of a person doesn't actually reflect the inside of a person. I'm not sure if this is actually doctrinal when it comes to Christendom. I'd have to think about it. I don't pretend to be some type of like, master or I don't read the Bible in Greek or Latin or anything like that. The Lord says your body is a temple, however. But I'm telling you that like when you see someone hideous on the outside, it often does reflect something wrong on the inside. I'm not talking about like, I'm not talking about like they have a missing tooth or something. Like I'm talking about people that like are clearly reflective of a life of self-loathing. Again, we are all created and stamped with the mark of our Creator. Every life is precious. Our body is a temple unto the Lord, and you should treat it like that. But the next two videos I'm going to show you are from hideous people, inside and out. A Ronald Dahl quote, he's like a famous author, wrote a bunch of like famous children's books. Fantastic Mr. Fox and Sidewalk Ends. Ronald Dahl, author and poet, he says, and I'm paraphrasing here, but an individual who's hideous on the outside, who's hideous on the inside, correction. This is why I don't paraphrase smart people, actually. An individual who's hideous on the inside, no matter how beautiful they are on the outside, their hideousness will eventually twist and warp and distort and ruin them. They'll become ugly on the inside and outside. You can't mask it forever. You can't hide it forever. You ever seen like Hollywood bombshells that are like hot, but like that they're like woke monsters, and like in like almost like a season, suddenly they just turn into absolute goblins. These are the things that happen, right? Is this it? Is this the quote? Man, Klein, you were killing it today, bro. A person's ugly thoughts begins to show it in their face. A person that has ugly thoughts, it begins to show in their face. And when that person has ugly thoughts every day, every week, every year, it gets uglier and uglier until you can hardly bear to look at it. A person who has good thoughts cannot ever be ugly. You can have a wonky nose or a crooked mouth and double chin, stick out your teeth, but if you have good thoughts, then you will shine from your face like sunbeams, and you will always look lovely. I'm going to show you some people with ugly thoughts. Here's a woman, no doubt a public school educator, explaining what she wants for a birthday wish.
So this is your birthday, so you came out on your birthday, you thought it was important. Tell me why.
Absolutely, because I have two little boys who deserve a bright future of freedom and democracy. And this is a nightmare that I'm living in, and I'm here to make a difference and to be loud and proud. And there's no other way I'd want to celebrate my birthday than with my parents and my best friend fighting for our country.
So for a birthday present, what do you hope happens? You wake up tomorrow morning.
I hope that I see the obituary that we're all waiting for tomorrow. That's what I hope for.
Yeah. you wishing that President Trump is dead?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've been live for just like not too long, but the show's been live for 20 minutes, and I've been able to show you. Here, let's show this one. Here's a good one. I've been able to show you, I can show you dozens of examples of people calling for the death, celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, or calling for the death of Donald Trump. This man right here is actually calling for a literal insurrection against ICE. We're working on getting like a DHS spokesperson. I'd love to get Trish McLaughlin on to talk about this, or somebody from the DOJ to chat with us today about this. We're working on it right now. Obviously, they're very busy people, but we want to get a spokesperson on to answer for this. Like, what the hell is going on here? Okay, so this man at the No Kings rally has been identified as Moises Bernthal, an employee at Wilbur Wright College in Chicago. Let's go ahead and listen to what he has to say. What does he have to say? He teaches at a university. He teaches our children. So what does he have to say to our children?
You gotta grab a gun. We gotta turn around the guns on this fascist system. These ICE agents gotta get shot and wiped out. This state, the state machinery, that's a full display right there, has to get wiped out.
Well, dude, you're literally saying anything. Like, there's nothing that happened on January 6th that's even comes close to that. You're saying that we got to grab guns, turn them on ice, and wipe them all out. That's what he said. That's not me paraphrasing. That's an exact quote. What's going to happen with this guy? What's going to happen with this lady? Here's a teacher mocking Charlie Kirk's death. She reenacts Charlie Kirk's death on camera. The backstory here is that there's these dudes who's driving around. These dudes who are driving around. You know, the balls on these guys, good for them. In a red truck with a sign outside the truck saying Charlie Kirk's a hero. And so this is her responding to the sign that says Charlie Kirk. And her response is to reenact Charlie Kirk's murder. Let's go ahead. So if you... Yeah, there you go. You can see her there. 2 shots to the neck. Bang, bang, she says, as she points to her neck. Wise people online who were paying attention said, well, you know, this absolute monster on the inside and outside. Remember the Ronald Dahl quote. Remember the scriptures about your body as a temple. People that don't treat their body as a temple or sacred are in the sunken place. This woman is in the absolute sunken place. And that's not even if she's standing on a trampoline. You know what I mean? This lady is saying she's celebrating and reenacting Charlie Kirk's assassination. Wise people online said, this is definitely a public teacher. Like, before we had any idea who she was, people are like, how long is it until we find out that she's a teacher at a school? Well, actually, just about an hour or so since the video went viral. She is, of course, a teacher at a school. Here you go. Nathaniel Hale Elementary School in Chicago. This teacher, named Lucy Martinez, teaches at this school. She matches the description. You're able to find her pay stubs, their public records. Looks exactly like Lucy Martinez at the school. What does the school do? The school deletes all their accounts. School's accounts are all gone. How do you know that you're probably over the target? The school's not saying like, no, what do you mean? We would never hire somebody that would celebrate the assassination of somebody so beloved by our students and young people. No, the school has completely wiped out all their accounts. In fact, they offlined their entire website, which it seems crazy because this is a public school. How can you even do this? They offlined their website so no one can even access the website itself. This is an archive. This is what the school website actually looks like today. School website look like today, like it's totally under construction. ALX, please send the ALX or a producer, please send the link. You can't find the school. There it is. Perfect, Klein. Under construction. Really? So they offline the entire school website? Seems a little suspicious, a little guilty. They're monsters, these people. What is this exactly? We know. You're not going to like it. We know what's going on with Grand Tifa, though. They ain't going to like it, but we know what's going on. Here it is. It's pretty simple. We talked about it actually in a speech this weekend, and we're going to keep talking about it. The difference between the parties. America First, Republicans, engage in behaviors that provide meaning. Oh my goodness, is that Grand Tifa? Is there really a Grand Tifa photo? Is that real? Is that AI? I don't think so. Goodness gracious. Grand Tifa. There it is. Okay, so leave that up. Let's just talk through this real quick. These people bought every single lie. They're the last generation that believes what they see on TV. Okay, so we can start there, right, as in our diagnosis. Last generation that's kind of like, I believe everything I see on TV. And they're addicted to MSNBC, CNN all day. But you got to zoom out on that. You got to zoom out on what is the actual worldview of these people? And the actual worldview of these people is selfish hedonism. Self-serving, hedonistic, godless behavior. This is the generation that saw the first decline in belief in God. And this is the generation that, of course, raised one of the most nihilistic generations in American history. We've been having to claw our way out of the hole that was left for us by an absolutely and totally self-serving, selfish, and truly self-loathing, inward-looking generation that has left the country worse. And it's the first generation in American history that did that left the country worse off for their children. There is absolutely no other way to say it. There's no way to speak about it other than that. And they're living out their values. And what are those values? This is the generation that believes in evolution, that rejects God by very large numbers. And what happens when you reject God? Well, you reject the divinity of his creation. You reject that God maketh man and woman and stamps us with the mark of the Creator. We're different from the animals. You start treating people like animals. What's the first page of the Communist Manifesto? We got to get rid of the church. We got to get rid of the family. We got to get rid of capitalism. Private business, private property, the family, and the church. These are the things that Marx went after. And these people have bought it all. And if you deny the sovereignty of the Creator, then you won't see any value in his creation, obviously. And so you'll celebrate Charlie dying, because what you'll see is you'll say power is it. There's nothing but power. This is what the communist says. There is nothing but power. Power emanates from the end of a gun. It's a Mao Zedong quote. And so you'll say, I don't want Trump to live. I don't want Charlie to live. I'm perfectly fine with that. That's aligned with my worldview. There's a godless worldview. According to Gallup, 60% of Democrats believe in God. 60 only. And that's probably high. This is from a few years ago. 93% of Republicans believe in God. That's your difference. But then not only that, like Republicans do things that provide value to our lives. We're engaged in our church. We believe in God. We're engaged in our community. We look outward to build, not inward. Looking inward is where you get gender bending. It's where you get 279 different genders. Looking inward is where you get, obviously, the crippling selfishness and self-loathing. Looking inward is a way to live a nihilistic and awful life. Looking outward, building something that you can be part of, being proud of your nation, your country, your community, your church, your religion, your family, the core unit of structure for outward dominance and building is a father protecting his family. That is the core structure. That is why Christ likens himself and the church as the bride. He uses the family unit to liken himself with the church, to use that structure laid out to say, this is the building block of all good. And these people, they reject it. They've rejected that. They've done it with their whole lives. It's been a nightmare. The returns are in, and it's been a nightmare what this generation has wrought on the country. And now you're seeing it in its death throes now. As they spittle coming out of their mouth, their dentures flopping around, celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, calling for the death of Trump. It's an awful and despicable ideology, and it needs to be salted from the earth. It is the rejection of God. And that's why what we are fighting is godliness versus godlessness. And you can see the results of godlessness in Grand Tifa and here with Nancy Pelosi trying to break a crown, which is my single favorite video from the entire day. This is Nancy Pelosi at a No Kings protest. They don't show the audience. I think this is at her senior home. I don't know. But she has a plastic crown, no doubt made for 10 cents in China, which, of course, Nancy Pelosi's entire life work is to make sure that everything can be manufactured in China and nothing is ever manufactured in America. That all American jobs go to communist China. Nancy Pelosi, hands shaking, like dentures flopping out of her mouth, says, I'm going to snap this crown. And watch what happens here.
I'm going to tear up the crown.
You have to see it. I mean, obviously Killer Klein sees it. Any editor will see it. And they're trying to be tricky here. But what you can see here is she tries to tear the crown. and she can't. She does one big motion and her frail little arms nearly snap. So then they do this. This is a big jump cut. You can see the colors change, this massive lens flare, and you can see the jump cut. And they have to, what I think happened here, this is like my Zapruder film, all right? This is like we're going to take this frame by frame. What I think happened here is probably a staffer who's of right mind and strength came in there and pre-broke the crown for her so that Nancy Pelosi could like just pretty much like pull the pieces apart at the end. There you go. And she's very proud of herself, right? With her whatever teeny little audience she's speaking to. Why is this so ironic and hilarious cell phone? Because Nancy Pelosi is, by every measure, more of a monarch than some of the most monarchs that ever reigned. The average years of rule for an English king, which is the oldest surviving dynasty in the world, is 18 years. This is the average reign of an English monarch. Nancy Pelosi has been in office for twice that many years. She's been in office for 38 years. So Nancy Pelosi is pushing 40 years in the House of Representatives. 38 years. And she's running for re-election. Nancy Pelosi got into the House when I was a few months old in 1987. She's been continuously serving for 38 years. This is longer than the vast majority of monarchs ever reigned or ruled. Nancy Pelosi has then been able to vote herself by fiat exorbitant riches out of the public treasury using insider knowledge to do criminal trades. Nancy Pelosi's net worth is what exactly, Klein? Around $300,000. Nancy Pelosi's net worth, right there. Yeah, great. I'm going to just round up 300,000. 300 million, correction. I'm so sorry. $300,000. Oh, yeah. Maybe when she started Congress. When did she start in Congress? Well, her daddy, Democrat Kingmaker, who was the mayor of Baltimore, ran for president as a Democrat, was like a mob boss. Daddy Pelosi, I think the maiden name was D'Alessandro, he set up Nancy. Daddy Kingmaker, actually, she inherited everything. Very regal of Nancy. So she inherits her position. She inherits her power. That's why there's photos of Nancy Pelosi and JFK. Wild. Nancy Pelosi, how did Nancy Pelosi like work for and with JFK? Oh, her daddy set her up for everything. So she inherited her position. She stole all of her money. She's been a contiguous ruler for 40 years. And she says that Donald Trump, who's been in office for 4.5 years, is the problem. There it is. Look at that. Like the Queen of England right here. And I think she has more power, actually, than the Queen of England. Look at this. Look at this broad. And she has the cheek to sit there in some little video and say that Donald Trump is the problem. And she can barely rip the crown. She didn't want to rip the crown. She didn't want to do it. Because Nancy Pelosi is the American version of political dynastic power. Her, McConnell, Schumer, between the three of them, you have 120 years of nonstop linear rule. It's sick. A lot of these people do die in office. I don't wish that on anyone. But the senator from California, she died in office. Not Barbara Streisand. Sorry, what? Feinstein. Dianne Feinstein. There you go. She literally like she had like terminal illness, and she was like up in Congress, just sitting there, and refused to leave, and she died in office, like a monarch. I mean, like people who are like ruling on the throne, and they just die as king or queen. Nancy Pelosi is in the iconoclast of that. So for her to critique Trump, is really the last straw on all of this. Donald Trump wasn't having any of it. Here's Trump's response.
What's your response to the protests over the weekend, the No Kings protests?
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. It looks like it was. We're checking it out. The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country.
Mr. President, besides San Francisco...
By the way, I'm not a king. I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.